Welcome back to Get Sarasota Real Estate Fit with me, Shayla Twit. Thank you for coming back. If you are a subscriber and if you're new, I like to cover all things real estate in the Sarasota area general market. And if you don't know where Sarasota is on the Florida map, it's basically right in the center of the state on the west coast, the best coast. So today I wanted to kind of cover, we talk about all the great things that are here and all the great properties and all the unicorns and all rainbows, right? But today I wanted to cover some of the things you're really going to want to know, some of the maybe negatives, or just things that you're going to want to heed and be aware of if you are buying, especially a condo near the coastline. Stay tuned. All right, well, I'm about to show a property right on, not just on the coast, but right on the beach. And I thought, we talk so much about how great the area is. I do make a point of when I'm with my clients to make sure they know all of the potential bad. And when I say bad, I mean all of the costs involved with buying property. And now after this Surfside ordeal, which is such a disaster and such an unfortunate event, that now they've passed Senate Bill, 4D, Senate Bill 4D. And, at my office, we really pride ourselves on staying ahead of what's happening with changes in the law, especially as it, of course, directly impacts real estate and the purchase and sale of real estate. And we did sit down with one of our preferred attorneys, Stephen Liberty with Clear Title. Yesterday we had a great little sit down with our colleagues, and he went over like the bullet points of it that I want to cover with you guys today. And I want to kind of just tell you like things to look out for and things that when you're working with an agent, they should absolutely point out to you as it pertains to any upcoming assessments and other changes in your overall HOA payments, because all of these places now, beautiful. First of all, the cost to maintain the properties is one thing, and insurance and preventative measures is an entirely different thing, right? So I want to go into a little bit of detail of what to expect coming down the pike. If I were a buyer, I'd want to know, and ethically, I have to pass on to you as a realtor here in the Sarasota area. So we're going to find a place to park, and I can sit down and more thoughtfully go line by line with you. Okay, first and foremost, the location matters. So any building that is within 3 miles of the coastline is 3 stories or taller and is 25 years old or older. These are the places that are going to be mostly impacted. So this condo behind me, for example, there's a home behind you, which just trust me, there's a home behind you. That's not going to be impacted, nor are the villa style, because it's 1 story, or some of the townhomes that it's a little tricky because like if you're in a townhome, they could classify the garage, the first floor and the third floor is potentially 3 stories. So you really want to make sure what is classified, if that's a property that you're thinking of purchasing, if it's classified as a 3-story or taller, right? So if you fall into this category, the state has mandated, now this is a law, that they have to have 1, potentially 2 reserve studies that is basically a really thorough inspection by engineers from the state of Florida, come out and ensure that the building is sound, free of structural deficiencies, I guess. They use other legal jargon that I'm just using realtor jargon for you because I'm not an attorney. But, so I think that's the first and foremost. The second thing to note of, I think the first thing to do is if you're thinking of buying one of these properties would be to find out from the HOA meeting notes. That's what I was trying to say. The meetings, they always have notes, and they discuss like upcoming changes to the HOA, pending assessments, and of course like all of the things upcoming for the engineering inspections. Okay, so that was phase one. So phase one report. So basically, if they come up with substantial defects, then they would absolutely require a phase two inspection. Okay, and it might be more intrusive inspections and that sort of thing. And mind you, these inspections are paid by the HOA, and who is the HOA? The owners, and they are not inexpensive. So at the end of the day, owners are spending money to get the properties inspected, which is law. There's no choice about it. And I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but it's just something that you're going to have to know for sure if you want to buy investment property or second homes out here. So anyway, so if that's determined necessary, you pay for the second inspection, and that's where they would come up with the reserve study, right? So let's say they determine that the roof, this is an easy example, the roof only has like 5 years life left, really technically speaking. Then that part of the reserve study as part of your line item has to be fully funded, and there's all kinds of deadlines here that I'm not going to rattle off necessarily because it's harder for me. It's hard to remember dates, but there's hard dates right now per the law. So once they determine that this has to be fully funded, it has to be implemented by law. Okay, so this could really impact a lot of people, and maybe, you know, some of the people that are in a fixed income retirement situation that might push them out of the building for these unforeseen expenses. And so it's definitely something that we're as an agent, I myself am really hyper focused on, because I do so much out on the islands. It's pretty much where I love being out here, and I love working with people out here, and it's by my office, and the beach is here, and it's all good. It's just stuff that you just need to be aware of, right? And the line items in the reserve study in the budget has to be for very specific items. So as you can kind of imagine, it could add up. So I know they had stuff like they had roof, they had, you know, any other components of like the rebar. We actually had a listing last year. I think we sold it in the Players Club, which is a little bit further north here, of course, on the beach. And they were really ahead of the game. They right after Surfside, they had engineers out there, and they started the work, and they had quite a bit of it. And I want to say that those unit owners had assessments upwards of like 30,000 or more. I think I've heard numbers out here in the 60,000 range, and that's just for a special assessment. So you could get one big assessment, and then a lot of the HOAs that do find structural issues or ongoing things that they have to replace within the property, that the overall expenses ongoing is going to go up as well. I think that's just to be expected. Now, that being said, I'm actually showing a property, the property I came back here to show. It, you know, falls in the 25 years or older, of course, and certainly right on the beach. And it really passed with flying colors during the phase one study. So inspection, I should say. And they didn't require a phase two. And honestly, that is a huge selling point for a seller, by the way, if you've already had that engineering report with flying colors. And to me, if I'm showing buyers, I'm going to make sure and point that out as something they might want to consider. If it checks all the boxes, of course, that they should really highly consider that, if nothing else, for financial reasons, right? So we're going to show you the beach side of that property here coming up next. And I'm just going to put this out there because these homes are so beautiful. Yes, homes. There's a row of them right here on the beach. Stunning. I just wanted to share that with you people. Like, how beautiful. This is Longboat. And opposite the camera is the Longboat Key Club Golf Course. And it's just beautiful here. This is why I love it so much. I love what I do. I love helping people find their dream home, their second home, their investment home, whatever property, you know, but also I have to keep people informed. If I know something ethically, I must pass it on. I can't sleep at night, you know. I can't sleep at night if I don't tell you the good, the bad, and the ugly, and as much as I can to my knowledge. And, you know, I will say the good thing is we have really good attorneys. So if nothing else, you can always have an attorney represent you at a nominal fee. And sometimes I feel like that's definitely worth it. All right, I did also hear of a situation in the state of Florida where the buyer actually closed and they were kind of transacting the rest of the transaction during the holidays. So the person that would normally handle the signing off on the final document from the HOA, which is called the estoppel letter, and the estoppel letter goes to the title office, and the title office just puts together the final closing paperwork. Anyway, the estoppel wasn't signed by the normal person responsible for doing so because it's the holidays and things got overlooked, and the buyer closed and no assessments or upcoming assessments were divulged or disclosed to that buyer. And it turned out soon after closing, they got hit with a $60,000 assessment. So that, I don't know if that had to be paid all in one lump sum or spread out. Every HOA is very different on that, but to boot, the building was going to be closed for 6 months for repairs. So that's a lot to take in, and you really want to try to avoid that if at all possible. So I'm sure in that case there's going to be some legal recourse. We just don't have a lot of precedent, obviously, with court cases with this yet to kind of go off of. I'm sure this is where the attorneys come in, and this is how they get paid the big bucks, right? So that was just an example of what we want to avoid for you, and the way to do that is the seller's responsible to disclose anything that they feel is that could materially affect the value or, you know, the whole transaction of the property. And they must disclose any pending or upcoming known assessments. So when I'm advising a seller, I always say, like, if it's something that you know of that really is important, or that you've heard on the meeting minutes of the HOA, it's better safe to disclose than be sorry and backpedal and have a legal problem on your hands. So disclose, and you know, and I help my clients along with that as an advisor, you know, here since 2002, representing many sellers. And, you know, we've seen a lot of change over the 20 years, and now this is just one more, right? So, but I appreciate you guys watching this. I think it's just something important for everyone to know, and I'm happy to be an advisor for you if you're thinking of buying here, whether it's on the coastline or on the mainland. I'm happy to work with any buyers or sellers, and I would love for you to subscribe if you haven't. Please click the link. Please click the bell notification, and if you don't want to wait for the next video, go to the next screen and another one will pop up. And so thank you for watching.